Bills offense. It's all speed and no huddle. When they have the football, expect the following. This offense is a juggernaut.
Things happen so fast. It is amazing. Once we get clicking, we feel like nobody can stop us. One thing that we have going for us, we have a great signal call. I always feel like the point guard on a fast break team. I'm the man calling the plays, and all the spotlight, all the pressure is on the quarterback, and I've always thrived on that, and here I am, and I'm enjoying it.
The Buffalo Bills face the New York Jets on ABC's Monday Night Football.
Are you ready to rock? Are you ready to roll? Are you ready for Frank and Al and Dan and their Bang Bang Show? We're gonna make you smile and get rid of your blues and do the Monday Night Football boogie for you. I bet you're ready for some football. The Bills and the Jets, it's bombs away. It's Monday Night Football and it's time to play.
Giants Stadium in East Rutherford, New Jersey, home of the New York Giants and the New York Jets. And on an absolutely beautiful night for football here in the East tonight, the New York Jets will host the Buffalo Bills before a sellout crowd. Hello again, everyone. I'm Frank Gifford, along with Al Michaels and Dan Deerdorf. Happy you're with us. An important game for both the Bills and the Jets. A little more important for the Jets, a desperate one if you actually want to look at it that way. The Jets are 1-5, a playoff team of a year ago. They thought they would be an improved team this year. They really need to win tonight's football game. The Bills, meanwhile, they've lost uncustomarily 2 in a row. They are 4-2. They trail the Dolphins at 6-1 in the AFC East, but they play the Dolphins in 3 weeks. But they have been averaging in their first 4 victories 38 points a game, Al. And all of a sudden in their losses to the Raiders and the Miami Dolphins, they scored 1 touchdown. Now, this is cause for concern.
Very unusual, just 1 touchdown with this suddenly impotent offense in 8 quarters. But you can count on the Buffalo Bills exploding, and for one particular reason. Normally, they would come into this game, let's say, unbeaten or with a record of 5-1, and perhaps suffer a letdown. But they've lost 2 in a row now for the first time since 1989. So they will not let down tonight. They are mildly surprised that a lot of their fans have all of a sudden jumped off the bandwagon. But if this one goes according to form, that bandwagon will once again be filled to capacity tomorrow. Dan, the Bills having their problems, but the Jets don't want to hear about anybody else's problems.
No, they're a little preoccupied with their own, Al. You're right about that. I mean, the New York Jets, what kind of promise did they have? The playoffs last year, a 5-0 preseason record, and it looked like they were going to be off to the races. Instead, they're off the charts. A 1-5 beginning, and disappointment is everywhere with this New York Jets club. Realistically speaking, they are not going to make the playoffs in '92. But one big way they can salvage their season is by beating Buffalo. Keep in mind, they have not beaten the Bills since opening day of 1987. That means only 5 members of this roster have ever savored a victory over Buffalo. A great big way to help save 1992.
And prior to those 9 consecutive wins by the Bills, the Jets had reeled off 7 consecutive wins over Buffalo. So it's been a series of streaks as you look at the 2 coaches. Marv Levy, who took over in the middle of the 1986 season and has guided the Bills to back-to-back Super Bowl appearances. And Bruce Coslett, the former Cincinnati tight end and Bengal assistant under Sam White, and now in his 3rd year as the head coach of the New York Jets. Perfect night. Pretty much windless at the moment in normally windy Giant Stadium, and Steve Christie to kick off for the Buffalo Bills. So the Jets will get the ball as the game is underway on a one-hopper fielded at the 9-yard line by Eric McMillan, and he is tackled at the 28. Mark Pike makes the stop. And let's take a look at the Jets offensively. Browning Nagel from the University of Louisville threw 2 passes last year, but he's been their man. Won the job in a preseason mini battle with Ken O'Brien. Thomas and Baxter are the running backs. Toon and Moore are the wideouts. Boyer is the tight end. And up front, they're having problems. Criswell, Cadigan, Sweeney, White, and the veteran Irv Eatman. First down at the 28-yard line. With Moore in motion, the play fake, pressure was on. He gets the pass off to Blair Thomas. And he picks up 5 up to the 33-yard line as James Williams makes the stop. Defensively, a base 3-4 with Hanson, Wright, and Bruce Smith healthy again. He played only 5 games last year. The 4 linebackers, Bennett rushes most of the time. Then Conlon and Bailey inside, and Talley, the other outside backer. James Williams and Odoms at the corners. Odoms got burned in the Raider game 2 weeks ago. Jones and Kelso, the safeties. Kelso, the center fielder. Second down and 5 at the 33-yard line with a 1-back set. And Toon in motion. And it's Thomas off the right side, fighting past the 35-yard line to the 37. Jeff Wright makes the tackle, and it will be 3rd down and a yard or 2 for the Jets.
There's Bruce Coslett, the head coach, and of course the Jets have been moving the football, but they have just been shooting themselves in the foot time after time. Last week against Indianapolis, they of course lost 6-3, but they ran 43 offensive plays, and they usually run 65. That tells you the ball control in that game. But they had 53 errors on those 43 offensive plays. You can't win playing that kind of football.
You not only can't win, Frank, you can't even compete.
Shouldn't even show up.
3rd and a long 1. And through the middle, picking up the first down is Brad Baxter. They needed 1. Baxter gets about 8. First down, Jets.
One of the things that the Jets have, I think, is confidence running the ball against Buffalo. In their 2 games last year, they really dominated the line of scrimmage. You can see how Conlon walked up on the line. That means there's no scraping linebacker. Once he's moved out of the picture, a gaping hole. And this is a good start for the Jets. Nagel completes the first pass of the game. They have success running the ball. The Jets feel they can control the offensive line of scrimmage.
1st and 10, New York at the 45-yard line. Nagel to throw. Nagel under pressure. Nagel gets wrapped up, and Shane Conlon nearly sacks him. The official, Bernie Cooker, contends that his arm was coming forward. It's simply ruled an incomplete pass.
Boy, how does he not rule intentional
Well,
ground?
I don't know.
Unless he thought the arm was being impeded. But that was definitely throwing it away.
Tough to crawl inside Browning Nagel's helmet, but it sure looks to me like there's a guy who's getting rid of the football to avoid a sack.
Browning got away with one.
Yeah, quick thinking by the Jets QB in only his 2nd year.
2nd and 10. Rob Moore is the man in motion. And Baxter goes nowhere. Bunched up at the line of scrimmage. Jeff Wright, the nose tackle, leading the charge. And it will be 3rd and long.
Browning Nagel, in effect, as you said, Al, is really a rookie, but he has worked harder probably than any rookie quarterback you'll ever know, because when the season ended a year ago with their playoff loss to Houston, he spent a few days getting a little holiday time, and then he joined up at the hip with Bruce Coslett, and they have worked the entire offseason. He is the man they figure that's going to take them into the future.
I described it as a mini battle with O'Brien because I think as far as the Jets were concerned, Nagel had won that battle before training camp even started. A bad snap on 3rd and 10. Nagel running for his life, and Nagel gets buried at the 30-yard line by Darryl Talley. That's a 15-yard loss. And blame that one on the center, Jim Sweeney.
And there appeared to be some confusion on the part of the Jets. They were a little, I think, taken back. Bruce Smith moved from his customary side to the near side and went to the top of the screen to rush alongside Cornelius Bennett. And it looked like the Jets, the majority of the Jets, were trying to figure out how to accommodate that move by the Bills. They were changing their pass protection. Sweeney snaps the ball early and poorly.
The first thought of anyone on that offensive line is, where is number 78, Bruce Smith?
Louis Aguiar to kick. Clifford Hicks back to accept it for Buffalo. At the 20-yard line, Hicks takes the 50-yard punt and returns it 3 yards up to the 23-yard line. Tackle made by Mo Lewis. Bills get it for the first time in the game. 11:06 remaining in the opening quarter at Giant Stadium. And Buffalo has it for the first time at the 22-yard line.
I made mention of that last sack. See Bennett and Smith, and Henry Jones comes up on the line. Cornelius gets down as a linebacker. Smith goes all the way to the outside. And that confusion with the safety up on the line as well preoccupied the Jets up front, and Sweeney appeared to snap the ball early.
First down, and Kelly swings it over to Thurman Thomas, and he has no room to roam, but he turns what might have been a loss into a 2-yard pickup. He is tackled by Marvin Washington. They're minus Dennis Byrd and Jeff Lageman, who'd be their starting ends. 2 key losses for the Jets against this Buffalo offense. Jim Kelly with 11 touchdowns and 7 interceptions, but as we stated at the top, 5 of those 7 in the last 2 games. The Bills operate, as usual, from the no huddle. It is second down and 8 from the 24-yard line, and it's Thomas again, and Thomas picks up the yard to the 25-yard line. Lonnie Young, the safety, comes up to hit him. It'll be third down and 7. Thomas and Gardner are the running backs. Lawson and Reed the wideouts. Metzelar is the tight end. We'll also see McKellar, who's back off injured reserve. Wolford, Richter, Cole, Parker, and Ballard up front. Cole missed a lot of the Raider game with a hamstring pull. He needed that week off, and he's back and healthy. Third down and 7 from the 25-yard line. Kelly gets sacked at the 15-yard line by Mark Gunn.
Big play for the Jets. They don't blitz anybody, but they have 5 defensive backs in. This is a coverage sack. Kelly had time to get rid of it, but no receiver, and Gunn makes the sack.
Chris Moore to punt, standing on the goal line. Carpenter back to receive for the Jets. Great booming kick, tremendous kick. He stood on the goal line as he took the snap, and the kick comes down at the 35-yard line. Officially a 51-yard punt, and the Jets get it back. Coming over to the Meadowlands, high above Giant Stadium in East Rutherford, New Jersey. On a beautiful night, temperature around 50 degrees. Next week, we'll go to Chicago. Soldier Field is the site, and the Vikings and the Bears have at it next Monday night. The Jets begin this series with a 3 tight end set. Baxter is the sole running back at their own 35-yard line, and this is Brad Baxter picking up about 3, taking it to the 38-yard line. But the Jets that time with Wisenhunt and Mitchell, who both come back from injuries, and Mark Boyer in a 3 tight end set.
Last year, the Jets were able to run the ball so well. They were 5th in the league in running the ball overall. And for some reason, they've been able to run the ball well. It's just been the mistakes that I commented about a moment ago that have stopped him from sustaining the drive. And they just got to get rid of mistakes because they can still move it on the ground.
And it's also a couple times they've fallen well behind early and just literally had to abandon the running game.
Second down and 7. And again, it's Baxter. And despite the 3 tight end set, they picked up only 5 yards in 2 tries on the ground. And it will be third down and 5. Shane Conlon makes the tackle. 8:35 to go. First quarter, no score.
One of the things I think that has puzzled the Jets and their coaching staff is this is the exact same offensive line that a year ago we watched in that great Bear game we had on Monday night. It's the same offensive line that was 5th in the league in rushing, and yet it's the same offensive line that is now struggling. And they should be a year better.
There goes Bruce Smith again to the top of your screen.
Third and 5. And they stay on the ground and pick up the first down as Blair Thomas exploits the hole and takes it into Buffalo territory tackled by Matt Darby at the 48-yard line. First down on a 13-yard pickup.
And smart football by the New York Jets. If I'm going to see Bruce Smith, whose playing of the run has improved so dramatically, move all the way outside my tight end. See, look at Bruce there, clear up at the top. He's all the way to the outside of Boyer, the tight end. Go ahead and run the delay back to the inside. Henry Jones, the safety, was up on the line of scrimmage. Excellent play calling by the New York Jets.
And on first down, they come back to the 3 tight ends.
First and 10 at the Buffalo 47-yard line.
All of that was a great effort on the part of Brian Nagel to get rid of that football being pursued well by Bruce Smith.
And Smith tackled him, Frank, as he was releasing the football. And when they were on the ground, it appeared that Nagel took exception to Bruce Smith being on top of him. And it was Nagel that actually started shoving Smith.
He's looking for Nagel, I think, say, look, I didn't intend anything. Bruce Smith is not that kind of player.
Here's the end of the play. All right, Bruce Smith just barely gets him by an ankle. And Nagel, he's trying to get up. He's saying, well, Browning, that's not a smart move. I mean, Bruce Smith was appearing to start to get up. And Irv Eatman, in the hockey vernacular, was the third man in.
Yeah, well, you always protect your quarterback, but you also know that Bruce Smith is not that kind of ball player, and he was looking downfield to see if the pass was complete, and it was.
There is a penalty, a flag down at the 50-yard line.
Well,
Freddie Kukar has signaled it is a personal foul against the Jets.
That has to be on Eatman flying in, and what the Jets really don't need to have happen here is for Irv Eatman to be ejected from the ballgame.
He's going to pretty much erase the catch by Ken Wisenhunt, who's just come off injured reserve. Won't erase the catch itself. It's going to erase most of the game.
But this could be a dead ball foul after the play, so the Jets would get the yardage they gained on the pass.
And
minus the penalty.
And then lose it back. And Coslett trying to maintain order on his own sideline here.
One other aspect of that play, if you ever had any doubts about whether or not Bruce Smith is back, I mean, he ran down a very athletic Browning Nagler.
We had a personal fall, number 75 on the green, 15-yard penalty from the succeeding spot.
See, Irv Eatman sees the end of the play. He sees Bruce Smith scrapping with his quarterback. It's hard to fault Irv Eatman for what he did. I mean, he probably turns around and sees this, and he's going to come in. Every good offensive lineman in the league would have done the same thing. The fact of the matter is, though, is that Bruce Smith really didn't do a whole lot to get that started. Well, Browning Nagel is certainly not lacking for intestinal fortitude.
Bruce said, I didn't do anything.
Bruce is going, this is a...
They went looking for him to tell him that.
Yep.
I think Chris Burkett also got a shot in there, too, which I happened to notice on that last replay. A former Buffalo Bill. It was a 10-yard gain. Now it's a 15-yard penalty. It's a first down.
And 25.
With a dead ball foul, it's first and 25. Somehow they've got the down marker saying second down. They got to get this cleared up. It was a first down on the catch by Wisenhunt to the 34-yard line, and the 15-yard penalty takes it back to the 49.
We want to put the chain back to the original spot. It is second down.
And it's not a dead ball foul.
Well, how could, they're saying that was a continuous action. I mean, did it happen while play was still underway?
That is apparently what they are ruling, to the total displeasure of the Jets.
See, Bruce thinks it's first down as well.
To be honest with you, I don't understand it either. It's a first down. It's a dead ball foul. It should be a first down here.
They're calling it second and 12.
Then nothing happened.
At the 49-yard line, Nagel.
Nice fake.
Still under intense pressure, then dumps it to the 45-yard line to Brad Baxter, and he gets tackled by Shane Conlon at the 41.
Great touch by Nagel to get rid of that ball so delicately when he was being pursued, and probably thought he was going to get hit. All the pursuit coming from the backside, and he eased up just enough to get the ball to Baxter. He's got a lot of poise for as little as he's played.
It's 3rd and 4 at the Buffalo 41-yard line. 5 minutes remaining, first quarter. No score. Nagel from the shotgun. Burkett in motion. Four-man rush, good protection, and the pass is caught by Burkett, and his forward progress will net him a first down. He was pushed back from the 36-yard line, tackled by Talley and Jackson.
The former Buffalo Bill, Chris Burkett, unhappy up there a couple of years ago, came as a free agent in '89, and has turned into the Jets' most valuable player, special teams captain, and what an asset he is to the green.
And when you say most valuable player, you just don't mean that in a general sense. He was their most valuable player.
First and 10 at the 35-yard line. Baxter. Picking up about 4, taking it to the 31. Darryl Talley in on the tackle.
Dan, did you ever center a ball? Did you ever fill in as a center?
Oh, yeah.
You know, Browning Nagel does something I've never seen any other quarterback do. Maybe we can get a shot at it. Craig can work one of the guys into it. He doesn't put his hands together under the center, or does he cock them in anyway? And Bruce Coslet said, I've never seen anything like it either. But it took Sweeney a long time to get used to it. It's just totally different than you've ever seen by any other quarterback.
Second and 7 at the 32-yard line.
He's putting his hands side by side.
Is that a close enough look? The catch is made by Rob Moore, and Moore picks up the first down before he's pushed out of bounds by James Williams inside the 25. They'll mark it at the 22-yard line.
And this is an extremely effective drive being engineered by that man, Browning Nagel. I think good play selection by Bruce Coslet and the offensive staff. They are mixing up the run and the pass. I think this is a play you don't see often enough in the NFL, just a short hitch, and then let the athletic ability of the receiver take over. Look at the stiff arm by Moore as he jacks Williams back. I mean, that is the type of a play that I think receivers would like to see more often.
Inside 3 minutes to go, scoreless opening quarter. The Bills have had the ball for only 3 plays as Nagel throws, and it is incomplete. Intended for Moore, and Odom gets a hand inside the 20. It'll be second and 10.
Frank, I want to finish up the point. You make an excellent point that Nagel puts his hands in there kind of side by side. The conventional way of taking a snap is for a quarterback to put one hand entirely up in the 12 o'clock position, all the way on top. See how he has them like side by side? Well, there's a gap in between. That's a very unusual way of taking the snap. You're exactly right.
Popping it into the hand, he just kind of catches it from the center.
He's got a hand at 3 o'clock and 6 o'clock. Normally, quarterbacks put one hand at 12 and the other at 6.
That's a great shot.
Second and 10 at the 22-yard line. On a draw, Thomas picking up 2. Tackled at the 20-yard line by Cornelius Bennett, and that will set up a 3rd and 7. With 2:30 to go in the first quarter, no score. Bennett making the tackle on the last play. Nagel, 5 of his first 7. Nagel missed a game and a half with a bruised index finger. Bennett, who led the team in sacks last year with 9, has only 1 this season, and that was a coverage sack against the Raiders when Marinovich had the ball for 6 seconds.
Let's see what they do with Bruce Smith on this play. 3rd and long.
At the 20-yard line. Look out. And down he goes at the 25-yard line. And it's Bennett who is in there. He's the first man in there, along with Bruce Smith.
Well, the Jets are keeping a tight end in to block, and Buffalo's locking up one of their primary rushers. See at the top of the screen, that's Boyer, a tight end, trying to block Cornelius Bennett. And that is a matchup that does not favor the New York Jets. You are going to have to give Bennett some help. There's Smith on the other side. That is about as quickly as I have ever seen a pocket collapse.
So Cornelius Bennett, and it figures that the minute you mention he has 1 sack in 6 games, you get your sack.
Boy, I'll tell you, if Cadigan goes out of this game, the Jets are so thin with that offensive line, they will be in deep trouble.
Soupy.
Carrie Blanchard, who kicked in preseason with New Orleans, but you're not going to win a job there with Morton Anderson, picked up after the season began, a 42-yard attempt.
The reference there, by the way, is Supi Malamala, who's a backup tackle for the Jets.
Blanchard's got a big leg, too.
O'Brien, the holder, and the kick is good. Terry Blanchard boots it through with 1 minute and 32 seconds remaining in a quarter that's been dominated by the Jets. They've had the ball for all but 3 plays, and they lead 3-0. Miles east of where we are, Giant Stadium, East Rutherford, New Jersey, as you look at the Twin Towers of the World Trade Center. It's 3-0 Jets. Jim Kelly waiting to come back on the field. We played 13.5 minutes, and the Bills have had the ball for 3 plays. Louis Aguiar to kick off. Brad Lamb and Kenneth Davis back to receive for the Bills. He angles the kick, and it's taken at the 13-yard line by Kenneth Davis, who would have been advised to let it go out of bounds, and they would have had it at the 35. He can bring it back only to the 23, and he's tackled there by Marcus Turner. So Buffalo has it with 1 minute and 25 remaining in the first quarter. 3-0 Jets. They were offside on the last kickoff, so Buffalo will have another chance to return it after Davis was tackled at the 23. Aguiar to now kick it from the 30-yard line. Upwards. And a fair catch is called for at the 35-yard line by Rob Awol.
That's a heads-up call on the part of Awol. He could have taken quite a hammering because that ball only went about 25 yards.
So first down Buffalo at the 35-yard line. Here's a reminder, Saturday at 1:30 Eastern Time, the Tour Championship from Pinehurst, North Carolina comes your way. And college football features Stanford against Washington, Georgia against Florida, Ohio State against Iowa this Saturday on ABC. As Kelly retreats on first down from the 35-yard line and underthrows James Lofton at the 50. He was loose. He was open. It would have been a 15-yard pickup. Mark Gunn again putting the pressure on Kelly that time. 2nd and 10.
I think it's interesting that they are getting pressure on Kelly. In the last couple of games, Miami and the Raiders, they use a very unique defense, much like the Giants did in Super Bowl 25. A couple of down linemen and the rest linebackers and a combination of defensive backs. The Jets are going with their 4-3 defense, and they're getting pressure.
2nd and 10 at the 35-yard line. Thurman Thomas, the sole back, and Thomas goes absolutely nowhere thanks to Marvin Washington.
There we've seen big plays by Mark Gunn tonight. He's in there because Dennis Byrd is out with an injured shoulder. Washington is in there because Jeff Lageman is injured, and there he is. That's Byrd on the sidelines. Lageman's over there somewhere. But that's a good play.
Be nice if they blocked him. Totally untouched. You release the defensive end like that, and no play is going anywhere.
3rd and 15 at the 30-yard line. The Bills still seeking their first down of the game. And Reed gets loose. Has it at the Jet 45 and gets tackled at the 33-yard line by Eric McMillan. Andre Reed on 3rd and 15. And Kelly has been masterful this year on 3rd and long and is again here.
Well, you chalk that one up to James Hasty, one of the fine defensive backs in the league, because his job tonight is to shadow Andre Reed. He was in the coverage on Reed. He had to get help from McMillan as Reed was able to get away from Hasty wide open. There's Hasty 3 or 4 yards behind the perfect pass by Kelly.
Waning seconds of the quarter as Thurman Thomas takes it inside the 30-yard line and is bounced out of bounds at the 27. As the quarter ends, the Jets lead it by a score of 3-0, but Buffalo driving after 1. And we'll return to Monday Night Football after this message and a word from our ABC station.
Introducing
Second quarter, Giant Stadium, East Rutherford, New Jersey. Al Michaels, Frank Gifford, and Dan Deerdorf. Jeff Lageman with 10 sacks last year, leading the Jets in that department. He's missing. Dennis Byrd, as we mentioned, is missing.
Lageman not only their best pass rusher, but overall their best defensive player. And in many ways, the inspirational type guy on their defensive team.
On 2nd and 3, Thurman Thomas with a flag down. Mo Lewis makes the tackle, but there's a marker down. And, gents, it's interesting. It's the first time in a long time we've done a Buffalo game, and the Bills have not been in first place. Here they are chasing Miami.
Not only chasing Miami, but if by chance the Jets should win tonight, they'll be tied with the Indianapolis Colts. Now, the Colts have made great strides, but that statement is unthinkable in Buffalo. They're having difficulty with that.
Teddy Marchibroda, the former offensive coordinator of the Bills, who is now the head coach of the Indianapolis Colts. They've done a great job.
4-3 are the Colts, and that's where the Bills would be if they should lose this game to the Jets tonight.
Bernie Kukar just told us the nose tackle is offside for the Jets, so it's an automatic first down at the 22-yard line. And here is Thurman Thomas. Thomas inside the 10, and Thomas going for the pylon, but didn't get there. He is out of bounds at the 2-yard line. To his disgust, Lonnie Young saving a touchdown.
Oh, you can shut Thurman Thomas down for a while, but you are not going to shut him off. He had a tough game against Miami 2 weeks ago, 3 weeks ago. He had a tough game 2 weeks ago against the Raiders. Gets that to the outside, kicks in the overdrive, great acceleration.
What awesome blocking at the point of attack. Metzelaars, Carwell Gardner on the wing. You saw Glenn Parker, number 74, coming around the corner. What a well-blocked play by the Bills.
And that looks like the Bills.
And here they come up in the stacked I with Kenneth Davis, the tailback, diving in for the touchdown. So Thomas is understudy. Kenneth Davis, he's as good as they come in terms of backup running backs. Touchdown, Buffalo.
And a good drive for the Bills, coming right back after the Jets hung up 3 points. But more importantly, they got it in from short yardage, and they have been a much troubled team in the last 2 games on short yardage plays. This time, just again, that tremendous offensive line, and it is a great offensive line, just blowing the Jets out of it.
Also some playing time in there for Keith McKellar, number 84. Went in motion and was more of a decoy on the play than anything else, but Buffalo fans glad that McKellar's back in the lineup.
And a great block by Gardner to take Clifton out of the play as Steve Christie converts 54 seconds into the second quarter. 7-3 Bills. Clifton out on the Buffalo touchdown as the Bills now kick off with 14:06 remaining in the first half. Buffalo on top 7-3 at Giant Stadium, East Rutherford, New Jersey. Steve Christie to put it in the air. Eric McMillan and Terrence Mathis back to receive for New York. At the 2, this is Terrence Mathis. At the 20. And brought down at the 28-yard line. ABC's Monday Night Football is being brought to you by Chrysler Plymouth, a division of the Chrysler Corporation. 2 pieces of business on the confusing penalty in the first quarter, which originally was thought to have been a dead ball foul. The referee ruled it was a continuous action play, thus it was 2nd and 12 instead of first down. And also on the Bennett sack, it's only a half sack. They've given Bruce Smith the other half of that sack.
He only got there about a second and a half after Cornelius Bennett did. And Irv Eatman hit Bruce Smith about 10 seconds after the whistle had blown.
Here's Brad Baxter from the 29 out to the 32. A gain of 3. It'll be 2nd down and 7. Cadigan, meanwhile, who came off before, is back in the game. Number 66.
It's Dave Cadigan, the left. That's Criswell, the left tackle. Cadigan, the left guard. Sweeney at center. White at right guard. Eatman at right tackle. A group that has dominated these Bills before and would love to do it again tonight.
On 2nd and 7, Nagel throws. The catch is made by Al Toon, his first catch of the night up at the 38-yard line. Appears to be a little short of the first down. James Williams makes the hit.
get an idea of the strength and size of Al Toon. He's 6'4" and well over 200 pounds, and James Williams, who ordinarily would deck a much smaller receiver, just couldn't even get him on the carpet.
Well, I don't think there's another team in the league, is there, Frank, that could compete with the Jets when they go to a three wide receiver set. You're right. I mean, you have Toon at 6'4", Rob Moore is 6'3", Burkett is 6'4", all in excess of 200 pounds. I mean, size is of the order here when you're dealing with the Jets and their receivers.
And the real speed was Rob Carpenter. He's 6'2", and 190-pounder.
They are a little short of the first down. Toon, meanwhile, has now caught a pass in 99 consecutive games.
We talked to Coslet about it. Excuse me. He says we will have no Smurfs.
No. There's Rob Carpenter, number 82.
And like Rob Moore out of Syracuse.
3rd and inches from the 39-yard line. 12:45 left, first half. 7-3 Buffalo. Burkett in motion. Baxter over the left side to the 42-yard line, and that's a first down for the Jets. Browning Nagel was born in Philadelphia, grew up in Florida, originally enrolled at West Virginia and would have played for Jeff Ostetler's father-in-law, Don Nealon, there, but transferred and then went to the University of Louisville and played there for Howard Schnellenberger, the same man who coached Jim Kelly in college at Miami.
And who's been very vocal in saying that Browning Nagel really reminds him of Jim Kelly in many respects. Physically, they're comparable in size, attitude, mobility. High praise for Nagel.
From the 42-yard line. Nagel comes back the other way on a dangerous pass that should have been caught by Al Toon, but dropped at the 50-yard line. Odoms with the coverage.
And another way that Nagel is like Kelly is he's very, very confident in what he can do. And when you talk again to Bruce Coslet about if there is any problem with Nagel, is his attempt to try to do everything, try to make something happen. This was a very dangerous pass, even though it should have been caught across field, and maybe he would have been better advised not to have thrown that ball. But he tries to make something happen on every play. And there is any criticism that Coslet has of his young quarterback, it's that.
Well, he made it happen on that play. It was his teammate that didn't.
2nd and 10 at the 42-yard line. The short drop, and it is nearly intercepted. Darryl Talley had it in his hands on a play vaguely reminiscent of the Entman play yesterday in the Indy-Miami game.
And a little reminiscent of a pickoff in the playoff game against Denver. Talley timing the leap perfectly. Fine athlete, Darryl Talley.
Gets unceremoniously deposited after almost interception
by Mark Boyer. 3rd down and 10 at the 42-yard line. 11:45 left, first half. Play clock ticking down.
Safe to say inaudible.
And they get it off at 1. On 3rd and 10, the pass is complete, but only to Boyer for half the distance they needed, and Talley is there to make the hit. And the Jets will be forced to punt.
Right now, Boyer doesn't look like he's too thrilled that Nagel selected him for the pass.
I don't think Kozlov particularly thrilled either.
We've got a problem if I'm the most open receiver we've got.
Well, on 3rd and 10, they get thrown the 5-yard pass over the middle, among other things.
And Bailey just hammered Boyer.
Aguiar to kick. Clifford Hicks back to receive for Buffalo. Bills try to set up a return, but a fair catch is called for, and then Hicks runs into his own man, Jones, and it's Burkett taking the ball at the 3-yard line.
We've got a flag.
Hicks goes down. I think the crowd thinks he ran into his own man, Henry Jones. But perhaps Jones was pushed into Hicks, and we'll take a look as Bernie Kukar gets it sorted out.
And I think Hicks gets hurt on the play a little bit. He's limping over towards the Buffalo sideline.
There's Burkett pushing Jones into him.
There is no penalty.
Well, you heard the call from the referee. There is no penalty, so very fortunate break and a bounce of the football. And Buffalo has to huddle in their own end zone.
It's simply a punt that is downed at the 3-yard line. Now it's time for a regular feature on what's new in the world of sports science and technology.
A look for
line. In a way, the Bills got a very big break there in that neither Hicks nor Jones touched the ball. The penalty flag was picked up, simply a punt that was downed at the 3-yard line. As it turns out, a 50-yard boot. There's Burkett, who was in the middle of the action, and Buffalo starts from the 3-yard line.
And he pushed the blocker right into his own man, and he's kind of laughing on the sidelines about it.
10:52 to go in the half, 7-3 Buffalo. Kelly to throw if he can, under a lot of pressure, and going very deep for John Beebe, but there's a penalty marker down.
No play.
And in fact, there's no play.
Well, is that in the end zone?
No play at all.
Could that be holding in the end zone? If it is, it's
No,
not.
the official. The official came running in like it was no play. He came in to stop the play.
Dead before the snap.
Ball start on the offense on the tight end prior to the snap. There is no play. Half the distance to the goal line.
Bernie keeps giving us the position, but not the number.
I think it's Keith McKellar right in front of us. Yes, it's number 84, and you see McKellar, who breaks out of his three-point stance well in front of the snap. And what a costly error.
And maybe understandable. He was just activated after being on IR from the beginning of the season. Beebe, with the receiver, also activated. He was the one that caught the ball.
Would have had it in Jets territory. Thurman Thomas gives them some breathing space. Gets out to the 6-yard line. Marvin Washington makes the tackle. That Beebe catch worth looking at again, even though it didn't count.
He, of course, is the speed for the Bills on the outside. A great catch. His beautiful concentration as he just roars by Lonnie Young. And this would have been, as you said, Bills ball in Jet territory.
2nd and 7, and here's Thomas, and he can't get on track. Stopped at the 4 by Bobby Houston. Bobby says, how about that, to the crowd, and they respond in kind.
Well read by the Jets defensively. Containment is held by Houston. Thomas attempts to turn back, and the pursuit is there.
3rd down and 9, and off the shotgun, they give it to Thomas on a draw. He can only get to the 8-yard line, but that will give Moore enough room to punt from the end zone.
And that does help. You'll be able to punt from the spread instead of bringing everyone in, if you so choose.
Pete Carroll, the 40-year-old defensive coordinator, and Marv Levy now watching his team kick to the Jets with 9:30 remaining in the first half. Rob Carpenter back to receive Moore's check.
See, if they had not got the 4 or 5 yards, those wide men who would be covering the punt would have to be in as almost like tight end. And it does not give you good punt coverage.
Very high kick. Fair catch is called for and made at the New York 47 by Carpenter. Jets have it at that spot. 9:04 to go in the half. 7-3 Buffalo.
Kick that thing 60 yards.
Section 603, David.
Al, thank you for having me. And the reason I'm here, I would like to know if you have tonight's over-under on groin pulls.
We have it on the Bursa sacks only tonight.
Frank, by the way, I was talking to the guys in the truck. Regis Philbin phoned from your house. He wants to know where you keep the liquor.
I just want to know who's in charge of security. Is there no security at the Meadowlands?
And if you say Vicky Lee one time,
do I have a chance just to say one thing about Dan here? How long have you been doing these Monday night games?
6 years.
6 years, and I know this for a fact. Every Monday night when he gets ready to do one of these telecasts, he still wears a cup. Man, I think that's professionalism.
I do too. Are we, Kenny, are we on 7-second delay, or is this really live?
You never know when a stray ball might come flying into the booth.
This is Blair Thomas on a 1st down, taking it to the 49 for a gain of 1. It is 2nd down and 9. So give me your analysis of the game to this point.
Oh, it's a classic contest.
Who's playing?
Well, it's your Bills, of course, and it's your Jets, of course. You know, the reason I'm here, I've wanted to do this for a long time. I would like to read the disclaimer, if that's possible.
Can you roll your R's?
I can do anything you want.
Meredith had a career doing this.
Okay, all right. So you tell me when you want this read, because I have a little something special. All right.
Right after this play, it is 2nd down and 9 at the 49-yard line. 8:20 to go first half. Buffalo on top by 4 as Browning-Nagel fakes the draw, has time, throws over the middle, and is dropped by Brad Baxter. It'll be 3rd down and 9.
That reception needs a disclaimer.
David, the fact that you're here, does that mean you're coming here? Let's make some news tonight. Come on, let's
You know,
make some news.
speaking of news, I was reading Kathy Lee's book, which is entitled, I've said it again. I did some fascinating things. I didn't realize that I guess after you left Bakersfield, and correct me if I'm wrong about this, you shared a locker with Amos Alonzo Stagg. Do I have that?
Something like that.
Something like that. It's fascinating.
Then you have read a book.
Yeah. Can we do this disclaimer so I can go home?
Right after the next play.
Okay.
3rd down and 9. At the 49-yard line. Nagel with 3 wide outs and 1 setback. Rolls to his right, under pressure, throws. The catch is made by Boyer, but he's short of the 1st down at the 47-yard line. You've got 10 seconds.
All right. Now, actually, I have music for this, too. Paul, are you there? My musical director, Paul Schaefer.
Whose show is this?
All right. You ready, Paul? Go ahead. This telecast is presented by authority of the National Football League, and it is intended for the private use of our audience. Any rebroadcast or other use of this telecast without the express written consent of the New York Jets and the National Football League is strictly prohibited.
We've lost control.
Totally.
Thank you, Paul.
You have won the audition, sir.
It was very moving.
Will we see
Very
you in
moving.
Chicago next
Nice
week?
to see you, Al.
Where were you last week? You were Pittsburgh.
Frank, nice to see you.
David,
Dan, good to see you.
You be kind tomorrow night.
I have to go. Oh, yes, looking forward to that. Thank you very much.
The great
Bye.
David Letterman.
I had to bring...
7:20 to go in the first half.
Woo.
Who's liable to walk into the booth on a Monday night?
Again, who's in charge of security? Just things like that should not happen.
First down, Buffalo at the 20-yard line. After the Aguiar punt went into the end zone, Buffalo up by 4. Jim Kelly going deep. Kelly looking for Lofton, but the pass hangs, and James Hasty is able to break it up. Lofton had a step on him, but Kelly, firing it about 60 yards in the air, had it hang on him, and it's incomplete.
That's most balls thrown 60 or 65 yards hang.
That's about where they start to hang, at about 60 yards.
That's where gravity starts taking over and bringing it back to terra firma.
Newton was right again.
It's kind of amazing, though. Lofton had a couple of steps on Hasty. Had Kelly anticipated it a little earlier, that could have been trouble for the Jets.
2nd and 10 from the 20-yard line. Kelly throwing, incomplete, and out pattern intended for Brad Lamb, and it will be 3rd down and 10. Jets trailing by 4, 7:09 to go. First half. Marv Levy, who watched his team explode in its first 4 games, but having a lot of problems offensively against Miami, against the Raiders, and now trying to convert on 3rd down here, and Kelly has it come out of his hand as he releases.
Oh, Kelly looked up. Hasty was setting up. Now, Kelly delivered that ball. Hasty would have probably made the interception. That's what Kelly saw. He saw an open receiver. Hasty was coming from the middle of the field, and he had an absolute zeroed in on that ball.
Well,
And so right down here, Kelly just pulls the ball in. You can see number 40 out there. He was stepping right in front of the receiver.
well, call Steve Sable in NFL Films. There's an addition to the blooper tape.
Chris Moore at the punt. So the Bills go 3 and out. A floating kick that bounces at the 48. And will roll to the 40-yard line with 6:54 remaining in the first half. And here's a reminder, tomorrow night, always a big night, Tuesday, prime time here on ABC. Begins with Full House. They begin a chant, Hayden must go. One night.
I understand you're very big out there. He moved to L.A. and gone movie star on us.
No, not quite. But we did have a little fun on the coach said last week at the 40-yard line as Nagel throws, and the catch is made by Rob Moore. And he's out of bounds at the 49-yard line as he makes his first catch of the night. It'll be 2nd down and 1.
They went to Dan come on Roseanne, didn't they, Dan? Were you telling me that?
No, I've never been invited to participate in any of the network shows. Unlike our esteemed play-by-play man over here, who's made an appearance on Coach before. Another one coming up, as I understand.
Well, we have a little fun coming up. Well, I can't give it away.
You know, there might be a continuing role. What do you think?
I hope. 2nd and 1 at the 49-yard line. Wisenhunt in motion. And Blair Thomas takes it into Buffalo territory for the first down. Tackled at the 42-yard line by James Williams.
Good cutback by Blair Thomas. He still has the ability to plant that outside foot and break it back to the inside. You just get the feeling you want to see him break off the big one, as he did so many times at Penn State.
Well, his average is solid.
It's terrific.
4.4 yards coming into the game. You see tonight averaging 5.5 yards a carry. I mean,
you can't complain. You know what I mean.
I know exactly what you mean, Frank. You're waiting for an explosion instead of a lot of mini bursts.
Again, year in, year out, the league average about 4.0. So he's above the norm. As Nagel retreats on first down, the catch is made by Rob Moore for a 4-yard pickup to the 37-yard line. He's tackled by Henry Jones with 5:25 to play in the first half.
Boy, talk about catching lightning in a bottle. How about Moore dragging that pass in? That thing was leaving a vapor trail on its way.
This was not one of your touch passes by Nagel. Good concentration on the part of Moore.
Boy, it sure is.
2nd down and 5.
Kenny O'Brien talking to Bruce Coslet there on the Jets sideline, and a lot of experience there on the part of O'Brien.
O'Brien, the deposed quarterback, part of that class of '83, of which Jim Kelly was a member. Nagel buying time with a play fake, and then the throw is out in front of Rob Moore at the 25-yard line. They're ruling a catch. Tremendous catch by Rob Moore.
That's a pair of them now. That time he just stuck a hand up. Ball well out in front of him. One hands it, pulls it in. Great catch.
Well, we've gone from Kelly's blooper film to highlight film. Watch this one-handed catch by Moore.
He can't catch it any other way either. That was not showboating whatsoever.
He never even brought his left hand into play. I mean, this is truly a one-handed catch. Pulls it in and holds on to it. Brilliant.
He used his left hand, Dan, so he would not bounce the ball off the carpet. He broke the fall with the left hand, maintained the catch, and they could not say that he trapped the ball.
You're exactly right, Frank. That was just beautiful.
3 tight end set, first down from the 25-yard line, and Thomas bouncing to the 23, tackled there by Phil Hansen. Well, the Jets have very much accomplished what they wanted to do, and that is not to fall behind early, something that you're vulnerable against the Buffalo Bills. You're vulnerable that will happen very much in the game. Key drive here as they try to finish it off toward the end of the half.
And that's so important coming into this game because the Jets would like to run the football in every game they are in, but so many times, as we pointed out, they were forced to throw the football coming from behind. And they are not also making the mistakes that they have been making in previous games.
A better than 2-1 margin in favor of the Jets running plays.
2nd down and 8. Look out as Bennett comes flying in. The pass intended for Boyer, and Bennett comes in unblocked, and Nagel slow in getting up.
A great athletic effort on the part of Nagel to avoid the sack. And just lucky he survived it.
And get it close to a receiver. Bennett is coming in, and a flawed scheme. Someone either made a mistake at the line of scrimmage, which I must assume no coaching staff diagrams a play where Cornelius Bennett is left unaccounted.
I wouldn't think so.
No, I think it's safe to assume that someone made a mistake.
You saw Freeman McNeil come into the game on 3rd down and 8. Burkett in motion. Well, he's got to get it to the 15, and the pass is incomplete, and they were lucky it wasn't picked off, intended for Toon. Mark Kelso was there. And it will be 4th down, and now you're looking at about a 40-yard field goal attempt.
Nagel lucky with that one. He threw right into the double coverage. This could just as easily have been picked off as not. There's Kelso just waiting for it on the inside, and Toon able to get a hand in there. And so the Jets will at least have the opportunity to try to put 3 more up.
40-yard attempt. Harry Blanchard kicked a 42-yarder in the first quarter. O'Brien to hold. They'll spot it at the 30-yard line.
Not a bad place for a 1-5 team to run a fake.
But Blanchard boots it through, and he has accounted for all of the Jets' points with 3:02 remaining in the first half. It's now 7-6, Buffalo.
I think Bruce Cobbs is getting exactly what he wanted. He told us, we talked with him last night, you're going to get a football game where you're going to see guys getting hats on people. We're not quitting this football team. There's no quit in us. We're going to be a hitting football team, and we've seen that tonight.
And the defense
not backing away from anything.
The defense doing a very good job. As you take a look down into Giant Stadium from the Goodyear Blimp Spirit. As far as the Bills are concerned, a lot of people are beginning to feel that defenses are catching up with the Bills' offense. It began last year in the Super Bowl. And, of course, Ted Marchibroda, to whom we'll speak at halftime, the offensive coordinator for several years under Marv Levy, going to Indianapolis. They've kept the system in place, but still Ted is missing.
You know, the last 2 teams that have beaten Dan and Al, the Buffalo Bills, they've used an unusual combination of a couple of down linemen, combinations of linebackers, and defensive backs, and that's what, of course, the Giants did when they beat them in the Super Bowl. But tonight, the Jets come right out in their 4-3, and they're doing all right with it.
One of the things that Tom Bresnahan, there's Jim Schaffner on the sideline, the quarterback coach for Buffalo. One of the areas that the Buffalo coaching staff thought that maybe, there's Bresnahan, was a little remiss in is staying in their 3 wide receiver, 1 running back set, which they call the K-gun. Staying in it too much, that they are too predictable in that 1 formation. They plan to use more 2 tight end, 2 running backs. They'd like to get Carwell Gardner more involved in the running attack. And so Tom Bresnahan has said that he wants a little more variation from the formation. Basically still the same plays, but they need to not be quite so predictable.
And if we haven't said too much about the Mercer sack of quarterback Jim Kelly tonight, it's because it really is not effective. Everybody is the most celebrated elbow in football, but it doesn't bother them.
Aguilar's kick comes down to the 9-yard line. This is Brad Lamb, tackled at the 25-yard line, with Marcus Turner making the hit, and Buffalo with all of its timeouts remaining. In the first 4 games, Buffalo on a rampage. It was the highest 4-game total since 1968. And in the last 2 games, just the 1 touchdown and 2 field goals coming into tonight's game. There was a marker down on the last play.
And one other thing we have not touched on in the last 2 games, Kent Hall, their all-pro center, has not been quarterbacking that offensive line for them.
Personal foul against the Jets.
We have a personal foul, number 22 on the green, 15-yard penalty, first down.
Eric McMillan, and that means this drive will commence at the 40 instead of the 25.
There is Kent Hall. He went out of the Miami game with a strained hamstring, went out of the Raider game in the first quarter, and the Raiders just tore the Buffalo Bills offense up. We're coming right up the middle with Howie Long and a linebacker combination of stunts. Without Kent Hall, they were a helpless offensive unit.
Thomas takes it on a sweep and picks up 5 up to the 45-yard line. Mario Johnson makes the tackle. With 2:40 to go and the 2-minute warning and 3 timeouts, you have enough time for a couple of drives.
They sure do. And you mentioned all the physical problems with Buffalo, Frank. In reality, the bye week could not have come at a better time for Buffalo. It was absolutely perfect for them.
2nd and 5. The catch is made for a first down. Don Beebe takes it out of bounds in Jet territory at the 47-yard line.
Actually, Marv Levy said, giving Jim Kelly 10 days off, he thought he looked so good when he came back. He said, you know, that's not a bad. I may take a week later in the season and not have him throw the entire week, even though there might not be anything wrong with it. I think a quarterback's arm gets tired. He looks so good coming back.
Here's Thomas again, and Thurman can pick up 2, only 2 to the 45-yard line. It'll be 2nd down and 8. Mo Lewis makes the tackle, and that will take us to the 2-minute warning. 2nd and 8 when we come back to Giant Stadium, where the Bills lead the Jets 7-6. Stadium, East Rutherford, New Jersey, where the Giants yesterday were at home, and they beat Seattle 23-10.
Dan is sitting in Bill Parcells' chair, I believe.
He may
smell a little like tuna in here.
That was his. That's Bill Parcells' nickname here in New York. Tuna. Don't ask me where it came from.
Second down and 8. As Kelly throws, the catch is made at the 34-yard line by James Lofton. That's a first down. Again, the Bills have all of their timeouts left. Mike Brim makes the tackle. Buffalo up by 1.
Every time I look down there and see Lofton or look at the video, like the great game he had against the Raiders and some of the plays that he made, it's just marvelous. Here he is in his 15th year.
Kelly, a lot of time. Kelly going deep, and it's picked off in the end zone by Brian Washington. James Lofton double covered, and Kelly tried to get it in there. And Brian Washington with the interception.
I don't think he ever saw the double coverage, but Washington was zeroed in on Lofton all the way.
Yeah, Washington's playing his side of the field. They're in a 2-deep zone, and Brian Washington responsible for the top of the field, and he just falls right into the position where he should be. You'll see him coming in from the left, and that's the type of a throw that you're really kind of surprised. You're surprised that Jim Kelly would make. That was not a disguised coverage.
Ellis, the Jets taking out one linebacker. They've been taking out Bobby Houston and bringing in the extra defensive back, and that leaves one free to roam, and it was Brian Washington.
Now the Jets have all of their timeouts left, 1:27 on the clock.
And this is a situation, guys, where you hope that Nagel's youth doesn't hurt him. More important than anything else here is not to make a mistake.
Well, his youth hurts him here because they just got penalized for delay of game.
It's mistake A.
Yes. Kelly, meanwhile, as you can see in those first 4 games, he could do nothing wrong. In the last 2, very little right, and you can add one more interception tonight. There it is, 4 of 9 with 1 pick.
A lot of yardage, over 300 yards in each of those 2 losing games.
Meanwhile, Buffalo has just taken a timeout.
Well, I know one thing
Dueling
you can say.
timeouts.
I know one thing you can say about Jim Kelly. His confidence is not shaken. A lot more than this has to happen to rattle Jim Kelly. He's unhappy with himself, sure. Who wouldn't be? But this is when he puts his hands under center for the next play, whether it's at the end of this half or almost certainly the beginning of the second half, the interceptions will be forgotten. He will play the game exactly the same, whether he's thrown 3 interceptions or 3 touchdown passes.
He's confident, and he's also frustrated at the moment.
He's proven that over and over. But there is something that has been missing, and whether it could all be related to Kent Hall, the center, I doubt that. Something that's been dramatically missing in this Buffalo Bills offense for the last 2.5 games. They just don't look like the explosive Buffalo Bills that we have become accustomed to. Now they've gone to the last 2 Super Bowls and have won 3 division titles.
It is 1st and 15 at the 15-yard line. Each team now with 2 timeouts left. 1:27 on the clock. And it's Thomas picking up 3, so the Jets showing they're going to be content to go into the locker room down by 1. And let's see if Buffalo decides to take its timeouts on defense. And they do. They take a timeout here. Now they wish they had all 3, but they took that one on the heels of the Jet timeout, and now they have only 1 left. With 1:15 remaining. Well, Ted Marchibroda, who has done a masterful job with the Indianapolis Colts, he is live. Frank's going to be visiting with the good man, Ted, at halftime.
Oh, little known, or probably not long remembered, that Teddy Marchibroda was an outstanding quarterback to the Pittsburgh Steelers, a Pro Bowl quarterback. 30 years in this game, coached under some of the great ones.
Well, he knows how to turn teams around because he did the same thing in the mid-70s with the Baltimore Colts.
75, he came in and had an incredible reversal of fortunes there.
The only man to have coached the Colts in 2 different cities.
It is 2nd down and 12 at the 18-yard line. Nagel throws. The catch is made by Rob Moore, and Moore takes it up to the 35-yard line, and the Jets pick up a first down. So the Jets, knowing that they had to move the ball and they couldn't sit on it and go in down by 1 because Buffalo was going to use its timeouts, take it out to the 35 with 1:08 to play, and a timeout called by the Jets.
Great pass by Nagel. He threw it right into a crowd, and Rob Moore again with a fine catch, keeping the concentration even though he was in that traffic.
Really hard to argue with Bruce Coslet and his strategy here of playing Browning Nagel regardless of what the record. The only thing you really worry about with a youngster like this at quarterback is that he sees so much adversity and so many things go wrong that his confidence is shaken. And Bruce Coslet says that is not a factor with Browning Nagel. So the future of the Jets is number 8, and you might as well play the kid, let him make the mistakes, hope that your ball club grows along with him, because it's apparent to anyone who knows anything about this game, this is a man with exceptional talent.
And you're around him too, you realize that it would be hard to shake his confidence.
1st and 10 at the 35-yard line. Bennett showing blitz. Nagel's throwing, and it's picked off at the 40-yard line by Nate Odoms. Now Odoms looking for blocking. Odoms out past the 35 and out of bounds at the 39-yard line. A tussle ensues downfield with 55 seconds remaining. And again, it is Browning Nagel and his good pal Bruce Smith.
Well, it was Nagel trying to throw into double coverage. Man in front, a man behind the receiver. Nagel, again, maybe a little overconfident that he could get it in there, and he gets the pickoff. And you really don't want to turn the football over to the Buffalo Bills with 55 seconds remaining. No one moves it more quickly. Let's see what happened after the pass.
There he releases it. About now, it's intercepted. You see the players react, and Bruce Smith goes after Browning Nagel. And again, another Jet comes to Nagel's aid.
And back live, it's almost picked off on Kelly's pass. Getting a hand on it was Lonnie Young. It'll be 2nd and 10 at the 39-yard line with 51 seconds and 1 timeout at Buffalo's disposal.
BB's going to the top. Remember, he got open on the fly pattern before, and he is the speediest Buffalo receiver.
2nd and 10. Kelly buying time, and he finds the open man along the sidelines, and it is Don Beebe, who then gets banged out of bounds with 44 seconds remaining. Eric McMillan with the tackle.
Smart play by Beebe. He had taken that pass very deep. The pass route had called for him to go deep. He saw Kelly was in trouble, brought it back on an acute angle to the sidelines, waited for it there, was able to make the completion, step out of bounds, and stop the clock, save the timeout.
Buffalo up 7-6. 1 timeout and that much time remaining. Kelly fires over the middle, and Beebe makes the catch, pays the price. Tackled at the 30-yard line by Lonnie Young.
And now you see that the tit for tat as we see Marvin Washington going after Jim Kelly,
and Kelly grounding the ball to stop the clock with 25 seconds remaining as they want to preserve that last timeout.
You see that Marvin Washington just trying to grab Kelly. He's trying to keep Buffalo from getting downfield, and Kelly's holding on to the ankle of Washington. Bruce Smith, Browning Nagel. Now we have Washington and Kelly.
2nd and 10 to the 29-yard line. They give it to Thurman Thomas, and Thomas takes it inside the 20 to the 15-yard line, and a first down tackled by Lonnie Young, and Buffalo stops the clock with 18 seconds.
That's their final timeout, is it not?
It is their final timeout. So you can try to get it into the end zone once, maybe twice. Already, clearly, you're in field goal position. You're looking at a 33 or 34-yard attempt from this point by Christie.
I'll tell you, that call tells you exactly how much confidence they have in Thurman Thomas to pick up that yardage to make almost a surefire field goal.
Well, that's a beautiful look at Thurman Thomas coming right at you, isn't it?
Isn't he amazing?
Oh, a gifted running back. Kenny Wolf, Craig Janoff giving us the good look there from ground level. That's,
you know, he's
what a player.
He is, you know, and he carried the ball over 900 times in college. Thurman Thomas did. He's carried it over 1,200 as a pro, and he's remarkably durable. He went out of the Raider game a week ago, had a pinched nerve in the neck. He got that on the sidelines.
Didn't have a bad understudy at Oklahoma State either, huh?
Not too shabby.
Guy named Barry Sanders.
who got on track himself yesterday.
Yeah, big day.
In Detroit's win against Tampa Bay. Gotham, 8 miles in the distance. 1st and 10 at the 16-yard line. 18 ticks left. 7-6 Buffalo. Kelly throwing for the end zone. He's got Lofton. Touchdown.
What an incredible move by Lofton.
Turned Eric McMillan inside out.
Why would they have single coverage on Lofton or any of the wide receivers? But you know they've got to throw it into the end zone. But Lofton came down, drove to the inside. McMillan bought it, broke it to the outside, and Kelly released it just as he broke. This is an absolutely beautiful pass play. Fires the ball. Lofton's in his break right there. McMillan completely turned around on it.
Steve Christie for the point after with 12 seconds remaining. The Bills take a 14-6 lead. And that has to be a terribly dispiriting touchdown for the New York Jets.
The Jets look to be confused. Take a look at the safety right here at the top. If you take a look at the player who's right on the 5-yard line to the right, watch him. See, he's pointing. He's confused. Normally, you'd think he would have the deep outside of the end zone. Instead, it falls to the safety on the far side, and he is in no position to get back in. McMillan's in a trail position. Lonnie Young coming from the far side can't get over there to be a factor. And the Jets appear to have some sort of confusion going in their secondary.
I'd say a terribly dispiriting touchdown against the Jets because they make an interception, then they think they're going to run the clock out, then they get a first down, then they think they're going to march down the field only to see a pass intercepted. And the Bills not only get into field goal range, but convert with 12 seconds remaining in the half to go up by 8.
Well, you touched on something. Nagel trying to force that pass completion in down to the 30-yard line. The interception, and you don't do it against Buffalo. I mean, they just can zing you too quickly. There's just a little bit of time remaining, but he tried to make something happen, grounding Nagel, and the Bills put 7 points up on it. But what a great timing pass. Is there Kelly to Lofton?
Is there another team in the league that when they execute a short drive like that makes it look any simpler than the Buffalo Bills can make it look?
And so quick.
I mean, it's almost that surgical precision the way they execute on occasion.
Only Denver with Elway most days except yesterday.
But even
at the end of the game.
Even with Denver, it seems to be more of a struggle than it is for Buffalo.
Until the last couple of minutes, anyway.
Yeah.
A bouncing kick is fielded up at the 23-yard line.
Roger Duffy, all right.
Yes, sir. The backup guard.
He wasn't going to wait for one of those backs to get it.
Nope.
He watched Stempman yesterday, too. He saw a lineman go the distance.
Buffalo's drive, and that's the way Buffalo operates when they hit on all cylinders. 62 yards in 43 seconds.
And they don't look frantic doing it. Maybe that's the difference between when you see Denver. There's almost hysteria that Elway is able to control. With Buffalo, they just simply do it, and all of a sudden you look up and they use 43 seconds.
Crowd wants the Jets to air it out, but they're going to be content to go into the locker room down by 8. When in actuality, they should have been down by only 1. 14-6 at the half, and we'll return with halftime activities after this message from the National Football League. And a word from our ABC station.